Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session today. We are so excited to welcome Dr. Anna Marie Kent-Willett to our session. She is our Executive Director of the Global and Teaching Learning, and as well as she is the Professor and Chair in the Communications Department. She is a great partner for us, and we're so excited to welcome her to talk about different study abroad opportunities or study away opportunities to learn somewhere else and gain all of that culture and knowledge. And while we might not be thinking about that this year, it is great to start thinking about of how you want to plan this into your academic career. So it might happen sophomore, junior, or senior year, but it's a great opportunity to start thinking about now and getting ready. So with that, take it away.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Dr. Kent-Willett, and today during this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about some of the extraordinary opportunities available to you here at Jacksonville University, and also share with you how this could fit into your academic program, the benefits that it will have for you, and how you can partner it with engaged learning that could include opportunities for international internships and international service projects. So I have a little PowerPoint for you this afternoon, and I'm happy to take questions as well. So I know for some of you, you are from the great state of Florida. Some of you will be coming to the great state of Florida. Florida in and of itself is a really important partner in the international marketplace. Basically, all of trade that is going to go to Central or South America is going to come through the state of Florida. And why that's important for you as a student at Jacksonville University: we are the 16th largest economy in the world as a state. So coming to Florida is a great decision. I know I came to Florida also as a college student, and the opportunities were so plentiful that I really never left. And, you know, of course, the weather and giving up winters and the snow was something I was very happy to do. But the economy is strong here in Florida, and the international marketplace plays a significant role in that. As we look to the future, the projected growth is that in the state of Florida, we'll see 6 million new residents, and that 1 in 10 jobs in the US will be in the state of Florida. So even if you say, you know what, I'm not really interested in working abroad, just coming to the state of Florida, you will become part of the global marketplace. It is that significant in trade and certainly commerce that moves to Central and South America. So just keep that in mind. Florida is a very international state and very important to the global marketplace. So I want to give you sort of 5 simple reasons as to why you should consider studying abroad. And here at Jacksonville University, we make it so easy for you. We have partners that are in place that work with Jacksonville University. The credits that you receive through our signature programs are actually JU credits. So the academic credit that you earn can range from an internship credit to one of your core classes or even an upper level division class. So studying abroad with JU provides you an opportunity to increase your academic credits. You can actually accelerate your graduation with summer courses or a Maymester course. So there are lots of opportunities to accelerate your graduation through additional academic credits or credits that help you fulfill your core or even your major. With our partnership programs, we have a lot of engaged learning. So for example, I teach a course called Communication Culture and the Amalfi Coast. As part of that course curriculum, we travel every week to a different destination. So truly, a visit to Capri is on the syllabus. So before we go, we of course have studied and researched, and students present on the topic, and then we go and we actually see the cultural phenomenon. So engage learning opportunities that sort of brings to life the materials that you have studied, whether it's a visit to Pompeii or the Colosseum. This active engaged learning partnered with really academically rich experiences that just provide you with such a tremendous understanding that you can only get through experience. So global competencies is another reason why you should consider adding a international internship or study abroad to your actual academic resume. Understanding how to work with others that are not like you really is something that is very much a part of an international internship. It's striking when we travel to so many countries and individuals are fluent in English, but you might not be fluent in another language, yet you are still able to communicate and accomplish a goal effectively. So learning how to work with other cultures that are similar yet different is certainly a skill that you can then go and talk to a future employer about, especially when we look at how many of the companies that are thriving in our current economic system are global companies. Cultural intelligence, understanding how it is appropriate to ask questions, to be curious, but yet still be respectful at the same time. Again, another way that you can increase your knowledge and understanding and help prepare you for the world of work, which is very international and global. And certainly another important reason, right, coming from a communication professor, enhancing your communication skills, really coming to understand how much of our communication is in fact nonverbal. How can you communicate effectively with someone that may have limited understanding of English, or maybe you have a limited understanding of another language, but all ways that you can enhance your educational experience so that when it comes time for you to enter the world of work, you can offer that much more to your employer. Again, some of the courses that we offer are signature courses, meaning that they've been developed and created specifically through our partnerships with Jacksonville University. The one that I shared with you, the Communications Culture in the Amalfi Coast, is a signature program. Usually I have the bulk of the students will be from JU, and then I leave 1/3 of the seats open for students from other institutions that would join us, in that case in Italy. Many of the courses are location specific. We also have partnerships in Barcelona, and we have a new partnership in the United Kingdom that takes you to Scotland and England. So the courses are organized. The travel is part of the coursework. Many times you would find yourself in a class Monday through Friday and then have the weekends free, or some of the classes go a little longer and meet Monday through Thursday with an extended weekend. This is a picture that, and the pictures that you see throughout this presentation are different photographs that I've taken over the years. This is a picture that was actually taken inside the dorm room at our partner institute in Sorrento, Italy. So this is the view from one of the student dorm rooms. What happens with the partnerships, again, as I mentioned, it's sort of seamless with your academic oversight. The credits are Jacksonville University credits, so they come just like you would take a summer course or a fall course. They're directly on your transcript. One of the benefits of the JU Global Partner Program is that we have staff on the ground. You are very much supported before you arrive, when you are there, and then the transition back. So that includes culture and travel preparation. That includes opportunities for you to share via social media. We have study abroad fairs, information sessions. And then when we come back, sometimes the students come back with such great material, we find other outlets, whether that's sharing with students. Last summer, I had 2 students that did a fantastic job with their final project, and both of them were accepted into the National Conference for Undergraduate Research. So that work that they were so passionate and enthusiastic about during their study abroad then went on to become some of the best undergraduate research in the entire country. And working with students like that to help continue to find opportunities. So, you know, what an experience. The student got to study abroad, participate in engaged learning, and then use that research final project to go on to become a part of their undergraduate research. So it's really a fantastic opportunity for your own personal growth and development, and certainly your academic resume. So during the summer, there are several different sessions that you can choose from. There's a summer 1, a summer 2. Sometimes students choose to stay for all 10 weeks. You can earn as few as 3 credits or as much as 6 during a 5-week session. Again, every summer I have a couple students that will stay for the whole summer, and they can earn as much as 12 credits during that time. If you are a rising junior, or when you are a rising junior, so that's at the end of your sophomore year, you could apply for an internship. The internship process as an international internship is a little different. You actually do interview with the internship coordinator, and then they come back to you with two or three recommendations for a placement. So it is a little competitive, but that's absolutely fine, right? We want to find you the best internship, and we want the best students representing Jacksonville University. So this opportunity is open to students with a 3.0 or higher. Again, that will be rising juniors, and we'll be going through an internship interview process for placement, because in many ways you sort of act as a goodwill ambassador in the community. But again, an incredible experience to add to your resume. Some of the more popular courses, in addition to the communications culture and Amalfi Coast that I talked about, there is an opportunity to study marine science in the Mediterranean, where you actually work in a nature preserved area that has gotten extra great funding from the European Union. Long story short, they've had success with bringing back a seagrass that was almost extinct. And they bring students from all over Europe to come and study the success and then help promote the care and safekeeping of the environment. So the Marine Science in the Mediterranean is a 4-credit course that's available every semester. Another really popular course is History of the Mafia, where you look at the origins of organized crime in Italy and how that affects their economy. It's very different than the concepts that you see portrayed in American movies, because really what organized crime is in Italy today has everything to do with counterfeit, counterfeit items, high-end items, purses, fashion. You probably have, it's a very, very interesting course that is tremendously popular with our students. In addition, another class that the Archaeology is the City of Fire satisfies the humanities credit. It is a 300 level class that is taught by an archaeologist who actually has digging rights at Pompeii. So the class gets to visit Pompeii with an archaeologist that's certified to work there, and visit some additional sites throughout southern Italy as well. So those are some of the very popular classes that are available and work sort of seamlessly with your requirements here at Jacksonville University. When we talk about going on location, some of the places that students get to go, of course, we mentioned Pompeii and Capri. You may have heard of Positano. That's just one town over from where you would be studying. You can either take the ferry over one stop or a quick bus ride. Naples is the largest major city. It's the birthplace of pizza, and also an excursion that we take for a day. Amalfi is the name that lends itself to the region of the Amalfi Coast, but it's also a city that used to have a lot of historical importance. It was actually a great naval force. It was trading in gold coins when the rest of Europe was still in the Dark Ages, but they had a very dramatic earthquake and tsunami that, changed the fate of Amalfi. But that's another place that the students always visit as part of the curriculum. And then Sorrento is the city in which the coursework is based out of. In addition, you also have the opportunity to take Italian language classes, fine arts, the international studies. We talked a little bit about that. Communications culture and the Amalfi Coast that I teach can either count as a communications course or an international studies. You can also study humanities, and then the history of the mafia is a history course that's available as well. Right. So what we are working on is our plans have changed a little bit, obviously, thanks to COVID, but we are working on full semester programs. You could study, if you wanted, a full semester at any point during your academic journey with Jacksonville University, but sort of these partnership programs where we make it seamless for you, that will remain in the works. We also, in the communications department last year, approved a certificate and minor in strategic social media. So regardless of what your major is, you could earn a certificate in strategic social media or a minor in strategic social media. And we are putting together a program that will take that group of students to the United Kingdom and Scotland as part of that curriculum. So all kinds of really great and exciting programs that take an academic component and build in engaging field experiences with an opportunity for you then to create and actually have, you know, a final project that could be something that ends up on your resume or undergraduate research or leads to an additional internship when you come back. So again, Sorrento is one of our main partners. This is a picture from the highest point at Capri. So I actually took the picture on the Isle of Capri, but what you're looking at behind you are the cliffs of the Amalfi Coast. So lots of opportunities for you to sort of weave that seamlessly into your time here at Jacksonville University. Of course, we have the program set up for our JU students and a wonderfully rich and engaging and exciting addition to your studies. So I know I saw some questions going while I was talking. I think Ami's going to help me work through some of those. So
yeah, we have a couple questions in the chat that came through. I know you talked a little bit about it, courses that you teach and maybe what does that count towards. So you talked about a couple of courses that have already been offered. You mentioned the communication one specifically. Are there ways that that counts in their degree?
Yes. So the course, and I will be offering this again next summer, communications culture in the Amalfi Coast can count as an upper level communications class. So if you were working on the strategic social media certificate or minor, if you're a communications major, you would probably want to count it as communications. If you are working on a bachelor's of science degree and you need an international studies course, you could count it for your international studies. And Jacksonville University, we work with you through this process to make sure, you know, is this something that's going to count towards your core, or is this something you're going to use for an elective? And figure out what you need and help you make sure that everything is counting towards your degree the way you want it to.
Makes sense. There was a question about nursing majors and whether or not they're able to study abroad. Can you talk potentially about some of those pieces?
Yes. So there is kind of a sweet spot for nursing majors to go, and that's usually before you get into your junior year. I want to say at the end of your sophomore year is really when, so I have nursing students go with me every time, but you have to work closely with your advising in nursing. And usually where the students are able to go is that first half of the summer before they start their junior year. It is, you are right, it is limited, but I always have nursing students go. It just takes some planning. So you need to know what do you need to take in the spring so that you're set to take what you need for the second half of the summer. But yeah, usually end of sophomore year, that first half of the summer usually works.
And that's a great plan, a great point about planning. So that's why we want to have this conversation with our students now when they're starting their experience at Jacksonville University so that they can think about long-term planning and when they want to do these opportunities.
Right. So if you're thinking, wow, that, you know, marine science in the Mediterranean, that's what I want to do. That's a 4-credit science. So that's a science with a lab. So then you would want to hold off on taking that at the regular campus if you knew you wanted to take that science in Italy. Or, you know, or if you want to take, you know, Spanish in Barcelona. So it's not too early to think about it. It's actually, you know, anytime you can come up with a plan and then work it, That's so much better.
For sure. And that leads perfectly into our next question. They asked, where in the Mediterranean is the marine science course?
Yes, so it's based out of Sorrento. It's the bay is called Nerano. So if you were to look it up on a map, it's just a little bit south of Sorrento. It's a protected Punta Campanella, so it's a protected bay. It had, as I mentioned, the seagrasses that were vital to the environment. What was happening is when people were anchoring, they were ripping up the seagrasses. So they closed the little, to me, it doesn't look like a bay. It looks like what we would call a cove. So they closed it off, and they worked really hard to get the seagrass to come back. And it's sort of held up now as an example of what is possible. And sort of the second part of that, how they use the interns, is to really promote environmental safety to the community. They go out and they work with young children to sort of foster a love for caring for the environment, because, you know, it brought the seagrasses back with, which was so important to the health. This entire community exists on the water. The water is very much a part of the history and the life of the area. So it's a really neat partnership, because it has the local professor who works with a section of the European Union on this. And then they bring in addition to the American students that are there, they bring in some students from throughout Europe, and sort of like learning this model and then taking that with them.
Awesome. This question is kind of futuristic thinking, but have you seen some of our students who maybe study abroad then go on to live in those areas or live in those countries later on?
Actually, absolutely. You know, I promise you, you do one of these programs, it will change you in ways that you haven't even anticipated. I have had students that have, probably the easiest way is that have gone on to graduate school internationally, and studied in Scotland and studied in England, working on master's degrees in that capacity. So yes, the student visa is much easier to get than, you know, another visa. I also have had students that have gone on to international companies. So, you know, I had a student who was a student athlete. She was Canadian, so she spoke French and English. And then she went over to Italy for the summer where she interned. And even though she wasn't fluent in Italian at the end, she could communicate very effectively. And it had everything to do with her understanding of French. So when she went on to graduate school, she could put down, you know, she's completely fluent in English and French and conversational in Italian. So
that's awesome.
It does open all kinds of doors that you might not even anticipate at this point.
Very cool. There's a question in here about how many courses do you take while in Sorrento?
Yeah, that's completely up to you. If you were to go for 5 weeks, you would have the option of taking 1 class at 3 credits or 2 classes at 6 credits. It's a very small price difference because they really want to encourage you to take 2 classes, but sometimes students, you know, just want to take 1 class. A popular combination is 1 class and 1 internship. That probably have half of the students that go in the summer that do that. Take the Italian language class and then maybe their internship. So what happens every time we go is students that haven't signed up for Italian language, like day 3, want to learn more about the language so that they can communicate, and will want to change and get into the Italian language class. And it's, you know, it's so much fun to learn a language when you're in another country. It's, you know, completely different than what you're thinking of with, you know, maybe the way that you learned language in high school or something, but it's very exciting and engaging.
Yeah, for sure. We are highlighting our signature programs here at JU that we are working on launching or have launching hopefully very soon. Can you talk about the residential experience and maybe where some of our students live when they're in Sorrento?
Yeah, so in Sorrento, and this is our partner institute. That means that we make sure that all of the professors are academically certified and that their curriculum actually goes through our departments here. So we are their partner. We actually are the organization that awards academic credits for all students that are studying there. About 5 years ago when I first visited the site, I really knew that this was a fantastic partner for us because of the dormitories that are a part of this building. So the dormitories are, it's a huge building that goes back several hundred years and is very historical in the community. But the dormitories were just recently renovated. So you have what is the equivalent of a five-star hotel view over the Mediterranean that's in a historic building with in-suite bathrooms. Two people, you're either overlooking the Mediterranean or overlooking the olive grove garden. It was over $2 million just to renovate about 25 rooms. And the students that aren't, the students absolutely love the dormitories. They are very sad when it is time that they have to go. But it's an incredible view. Recently renovated, all keyless entry, completely secure. Nobody's in the building on those floors unless you are living in the dormitory for that time. Individual air conditioning, which you might think, well, of course, well, that's not always the case in Europe, so they really designed the renovation with the American student in mind. Built-in outlets on the walls, places for you to charge your phones and computers, and big bathrooms that really sort of fit the American mindset as opposed to what is the traditional bathroom in Europe.
Awesome. There's a couple questions about pricing. Can you talk about maybe what is the average cost of study abroad, or explain our pricing models for these programs?
Sure. So the pricing, of course, will vary based on the length of time and the number of credits that you take. Sort of a nice round number at the lower end or the least expensive would probably be tuition and room and board for about $6,000. And then on the higher end, it's tuition and room. There's no food, but it is your tuition and your housing. The food is what we call self-catering. So that means that you are responsible for cooking your own meals, and they do always have cooking classes, but food is a lot less expensive in Italy than it is here.
And who wouldn't want to eat pizza and
exactly.
And limoncello every day, right?
So yeah, the lemons from this region are considered some of the best in the world. So lemons and walnuts and olive oil and tomato and all these superfoods are very much a staple of the diet. So on the probably one of the least expensive would be just under $6,000. And then if you were to go for the whole summer, you would be looking more at $12,000. Also, it doesn't include airfare and it doesn't include spending money, but it is a great value because it includes your housing and your tuition. Really, you will not find that huge of a price difference from what you would pay for tuition to take summer classes as opposed to what you would pay for tuition and housing to study at one of our partner institutes. And that's, a big part of why we partner with them. So you pass that savings right along to our students and provide them with really culturally rich experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and of course, realistically, so you've got airfare and you need spending money. And, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're over there with no money. So if this is something that you want to do, you need to start, working towards that goal and saving, because there are lots of beautiful things that you're going to want to buy when you are studying abroad, and lots of really good food that you're going to want to go and eat while you're studying abroad. So.
For sure. No, those are definitely great points. There was a question about IES and CIEE study abroad programs. there is a question about could they do a term with one of those programs. So I know that's not our signature programs, but do you have any knowledge of where you could chat about some of those?
Yeah, so that would work the same way that you would work transferring in credits from another institution, because that's essentially what would happen. There'll be another university that is not JU that is certifying the academic credits from that. So just even if you were to decide that you're going to take a summer course at your hometown, whatever university is there, it would be similar to that. So you would want to talk to your academic advisor before signing up to do any of that and get all of that situated. It would be, what would be different is with the JU signature programs, you can use any funding that you have, any scholarships that you have, all of that, because it comes through the same bursar's office. It comes through the same sort of tuition payment method. But if you were to use someone outside of JU, it would be sort of similar to taking a class at another institution. You would want to set that up so it could transfer in seamlessly before you do the program. Sometimes students get into sticky situations after, if you do the program and then come to have it transfer. So just, working through that before you do the situation.
Right, making sure you have that plan like we've been talking about throughout. So planning ahead as much as you can. Question that leads right into that, how do scholarships tie into the study abroad program? So I know you mentioned the signature programs and how that might work.
Yeah, so one of the things that I host as Executive Director of Global Teaching and Learning is a scholarship workshop session. So I provide information before, and then I, literally fill the conference room and we sit down and work on essays and work on, there are scholarships that are available if you're studying languages. There are scholarships that are available if you're doing research. So trying to find out what scholarships are still available. Sometimes in the summer, I've had students that have taken the very low interest federal loans. Sometimes if you're taking summer classes or a certain number of summer classes, you're eligible for that. I've also worked with students that are veterans and have benefits that can transfer to that. You just have to know what your financial package looks like, so that if there's some funding that maybe you have to be a full-time student. So you might actually be in a situation where it's better for you to go for 10 weeks and take 12 credits, then you can use some of your funding, as opposed to if you were to go and take one. So again, just that planning that we talked about, working with your advisor, working with your financial aid advisor. Do you have funds that you have not used in the spring? And could that then be applied to your summer? So these are some of the questions. It's not necessarily a blanket statement. It's going to depend on each individual student and your own package.
Definitely agreed. And that's why, again, we're having these conversations now, so that if you are a new student and you are coming in and want to make sure that you study abroad sometime during your JU experience, you can start those conversations early to make sure that you're ready to go. Question about reinstating study abroad opportunities or programs. We are very much following the federal and local and state guidelines, as well as the countries in which we have partners. So we hope to offer these programs as soon as we are safely possible to do so. Right now, that does not mean right now. So we are going to focus on the future and look for those planning opportunities. There was
the good thing is that we are in place. So these are our partners. So we are talking about, because what I fully expect will happen is when they say go, the waiting list is going to be double what it was last year, because I have all this group of students that was supposed to go this summer that didn't get to go. So they're going to want to go next summer. And I know other students are going to say, well, I'm not going to wait because who knows what's going to happen. So my partners in Sorrento are contacting me now. How much space do you want us to hold for you? So that's the kind of relationship that we have. But what realistically, what I'm looking at is next summer.
Okay. There's a question about, are these programs only in the summer?
No, they are not. The summer is by far the most popular for us. But actually fall in this part of the world is absolutely spectacular. The water is still warm, probably through September. So, and you're like, why is she talking about that? Well, the swimming and the boating is such a part of the culture that, you really would want to experience that. So yes, you could decide, you know what, I want to go for a full semester. Absolutely. It would be, a wonderful experience for you. And they are available in the fall and the spring. I've spent most of the time talking about the summer because that is where the majority of our students do go. It is very popular, but the fall and spring are fantastic opportunities as well. That wouldn't be as crowded or as busy as it is in the summer.
Awesome. And then there was a question about a marine science trip to the Bahamas and whether or not that's still happening. Do you have any information about that program?
That program is a very special program for us out of our marine science department, and they usually run that consistently, if not every year, every other year. So I don't think they've gone this summer, but I know that they, like I said, they've been taking students down there for decades. So I am sure that once it is safe again for them to go, they will go. And just like the relationship that we have with Sorrento, your professors in the marine science have that relationship directly with the Bahamas. So once it is safe, I know that they will do that again.
Awesome. We're starting to see questions slow down in the chat, but I want to make sure to ask you, what is your number one piece of advice to incoming students, maybe as it relates to study abroad or just in general, because you're also one of our amazing faculty in the communications department?
I think the advice that I would give you is to be brave, but also be thoughtful. And so by that, I mean, I know that it takes sort of a leap of faith to get on a plane and fly halfway around the world to experience something new. But your time at college should stretch you, right? And just like a good athletic coach, it might not always be easy. It's going to challenge you, but you're going to be better because of that change. So be brave, try some things, challenge yourself, but also be thoughtful, be deliberate. If you think that you want to do a study abroad program like this, and of course, I completely encourage you to do so, but let's be thoughtful about that, right? It's not magic. It's going to take some planning. You're going to need a passport. You're going to want some spending money. Maybe, a lot of times now I'm seeing parents come over or grandparents come over, and maybe you vacation with your family before the program or after the program. So this isn't something that you're just going to decide in January and go at the end of May, right? So it's going to take a minute. So be brave, make a plan for yourself, challenge yourself, but also be thoughtful and deliberate in the planning process. And it will be amazing what you can accomplish during your very quick 4 years here at JU. It will go so fast.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really value you as a partner, as well as our partner institute. And I'm so glad that our students were able to hear about some of our signature programs that we're offering. If you are interested in any of these programs, we will make sure that we post links to how to get involved on our website, as well as the YouTube link when this goes up on our YouTube page. If you have any more questions, we'll make sure that you have contact information to be able to reach out to Dr. Kent Willett, as well as to get more information about these programs.
Yeah, I was just gonna, I always think it's a good idea. I just want to give you my email because I know a lot of times you might come up with a question afterwards, so feel free to email me. It's a shortened version of my last name, so it's just awillet@ju.edu. So awillet@ju.edu. And if you think of a question or your parents have a question, I'm happy to answer that. And if I don't know the answer, I will certainly direct you to the right person. But we've got great programs for you here at Jacksonville University that can really change your life in ways that are just so exciting. And I hope that you can take advantage of all the wonderful opportunities that are awaiting you here at JU.
Wonderful. Great place to end on. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I put Dr. Kent Willet's email in the chat for anyone who needs it. And we appreciate your time today. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.